Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Yogi here, and I hope you're well today. Happy Monday. And so today we're starting a little bit later than usual. Recently we've been settled around 8, half past 8 UK time, and now it's actually 11 p.m. in the UK. So on Mondays, generally I start a little bit later. I've got a class that I teach in the evening and it's running a little bit later in the evening. But here I am. I'm ready for a spot of stitching. Never too late for a nice spot of stitching. And I hope you bring your projects as well to stitch with me. So today, let me show you this beautiful, beautiful pattern here. This is a piece from Cairo Machete and or Machetti. I'll settle with one version one day. And this piece is called The Old Kitchen. Very, very simple name. Just look at this beautiful pattern. And yes, this is my dream kitchen for sure. And I almost start to wonder, kind of start to imagine what the surrounding space would be because it's so beautiful and so classic. And look at all these items, those beautiful porcelain sort of plates, ceramic plates, and yeah, just whimsical and beautiful and wholesome. And so this piece I've been working on since beginning of this year, since I started my 10 stitch adventure, and with several pieces here, and this is one of them. And I'm really loving it, really loving it. So let me show you why I am today with this project here. So I'm tracking it with Pattern Keeper. So currently, just to show you the totality of my completed area here. So this is a mini piece. So it's about 9 pages, 9-page worth of stitching here. And currently I'm stop laughing. This is 3.46 right here. This is why I am. Let me just bring a little bit closer. So I started from the upper left and gradually working diagonally to the bottom right there. And today, of course, I'm starting with 0 stitches. Sorry, I can't speak. It's a little bit late here. I'm feeling very relaxed, very relaxed. So I might start slurring in a bit. So today, as usual, I have a slightly different plan from what I was doing previously with this piece. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. But before we do that, let me just quickly look at the chat here, see who is in the chat with me today. Rose, hello Rose. And Steve is here as well. And Suzanne Chamberlain, she says, hiya everyone. And Lorraine as well. Is a Lorraine or Renee? You tell me. And so hello to Lorraine. And Sharo's here as well. Hello, Sharo. Welcome, everyone. So let me know what you're working on and what you're drinking. I've got my peppermint tea here. And full confession, I came in pretty late in the evening earlier on. And I had a cup of coffee. So I can feel the buzz of the caffeine here. But luckily, I've got my peppermint tea here to soothe me. So I'll be sipping my tea. It's too hot right now. It's freshly brewed. And Nicole is here. Hello, newbie. Welcome, newbie. And we like newbies. And Stitching in Oregon is here as well. She says hello. Fantastic. So let me know what you're working on today with me, or you're secretly watching the channel, listening while at work. We won't tell. We won't tell. And and just make sure the boss doesn't know, or maybe you're the boss, who knows? Then you don't have to worry about it. You can watch as much as you want. So today, if you've been following me for the last few sessions, you probably notice I've been typewriting a little bit. I've been dabbling a little bit of typewriting, and I'm kind of liking it. With a lot of methods, when I try it, if I like it, I want to do more of it. So my plan today, you can see a lot of park threads here. So previously I transitioned from row by row, block by block, transition to color completion, block by block. But I want to show you this area here, okay? Are you fast? Have you got your seatbelt fastened? So previously I did one session of cross country. So I'm doing half stitches on 25 counts, and this is a pre-gridded fabric, so it should be easier, right? So previously I did a session of cross country, mini cross country, which I do frequently with full crosses, no problem there. But somehow with half stitches, my eyes just not accustomed to the shape of the stitches. Let's say it didn't go as well as I imagined. I was feeling quite lost because I keep looking at these slashes rather than seeing the whole stitch. So with Typewriter method, if you're familiar with it, is that ultimately what you're doing is kind of cross country, but under certain rules. And so that's kind of the main difference. You follow symbol by symbol, horizontally, row by row. So that's the idea. But ultimately, what you're doing is cross country. And having done cross country, having done Typewriter method on 28 counts, which is even smaller stitches, and also on 14 counts as well on previous sessions, I really want to come back and see how I'm going to do now with a little bit of experience, a little bit more experience on the Typewriter method, and see how I'm going to do on 25 count this time. So I'm gonna work mindfully and see how it goes. I hope it's gonna work out better this time, because I really like the Typewriter method, and also it's kind of fast. I like that. Okay, I pride myself as slow stitcher, but when I'm a little bit faster, I'm kind of secretly quite happy. So this is my plan today, okay? And so I've got some part threads here. Normally you wouldn't have part threads with Typewriter, but I'm gonna work around it. This is a transitional sort of stage. So my plan is to work from this block from the top, okay, and then cross over. I don't know, see how far I can go. Maybe reach the end of the page border here, which is about 4 or 5 blocks here, wherever. And I'm going to start to do the normal typewriting row by row and cross country here, and eventually catch up on the bits on the left here gradually. If I do keep going with this method, I should eventually catch up with the area. I have tons of part threads here, and work through them and eventually move, maybe extend the width here and down. So that's how I visualize it. Whether it's going to pan out, we will see. Okay, and forget this bit, okay? A memory I wish to erase, but eventually I'll work through them. So all will be fine. So this is my starting point. I'm kind of excited because, this, if it works out, it's just one more method for me to play with. And let's have a look here. Rajal is here as well. Did I miss Rajal? Yes, Rajal says hello, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Very good, very good. You've been observing very well. I'm very proud of you. And And let's see, Leslie's here as well, Leslie. And Grace as well. Grace says, hi Yogi, hi everyone. Working on the winter reading Nook on 20 counts. Wow, it's going to be massive. It's a beautiful piece. I need to go back to that piece and give it a little bit love. I can't even have too many pieces going on there. Been preoccupied with some other pieces. So today, I am going to bring on this markup here, and you see my little Christmas pudding is making appearance here. It's a food related theme here, so you know, it's not totally out of place here, and it's never too early to have Christmas items appearing. So with that, let's start. And oh, is it Vaduhi? Hello, good afternoon from California. Amazing. I mean, this is pretty late in Europe, so apologies to viewers from Europe. They're probably already in nappy land, sleeping really well, dreaming about cupcakes. But for some viewers from other areas, from other time zones, this might just be a more convenient time. Who knows? Who knows? So I am going to, I'm thinking maybe I should work, I'm thinking because there are about 3 rows remaining on this block as well. What do you think, guys? Should I work on this block first? Because as I cross country downwards, I will have to bypass these park threads somehow. But I'll do that. I'll navigate through them. Nicole, oh, hello. Lisa is here, lurking and stitching good. And Nicole is here as well. I'm working on a Christmas town. Is it Christmas town? And absolutely, it's the absolutely right time to work on Christmas theme. So if you want to have any meaningful progress with your Christmas pieces there, now is a good time. So let's see. No, I think I'm gonna start from this block, have a clean start here, and then gradually work to the left. So with this one, I'm gonna just, there's just one stitch, there's another stitch on top. So I know what it is. Let me release this thread. I know what the issue is, because the whole spirit of Typewriter method is to start from the top. So that's what I'm going to do. I was thinking, something weird is going on there. So it will be a little bit of maneuvering I have to do through these park threads, but I'm going to start from the upper left, like the way it should be, okay? But with park thread to work with. Let's see how it goes. It could all end in tears. Then we can all have a laugh, you know, and pretend that it never happened. But I think it will be fine. It will be fine. I'm optimistic. And River is here as well. Hello, River. And I can't believe it's Monday. 2, 3. And for a lot of people, this is, you know, the day they return to work after 2 days of rest. But for me as a yoga teacher, weekends are normally more busy than normal days. So I feel like I've just kept working. It has nothing's changed. So from here, 2, 3 stitches I've just completed, nice and quick, and I've got a few stitches on the right there, so I'm going to move my way up. And this method is interesting because it gives me the freedom, or at least my interpretation of the method is that it gives me the freedom to work, you know, take my stitches to all directions. Normally, if I cross country, I can tend to go up to top to bottom or top to bottom, left to right, diagonally somehow. But with this method, now I'm actually working from bottom up. So I'm picking the nearest stitch here, that's away from my last stitch there, and just keep moving upwards, because this is how the stitches are flowing right now with this color. So I'm going to take one more, and I'm kind of gradually getting my head around, and it will be a little bit of a trial and error and learning curve here, as usual. 1, 2, 3, and there may be times I just improvise my own rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, and already with the sweet shop piece that I worked on with the new start, I'm already planning to break rules. So the idea is, if you have leftover thread, you just keep going until either the stitches run out or the thread runs out. So following that rule, I'm going to wander a little bit further here. So let me move my fabric slightly to the left. Susan, you're correct. Soon to be Tuesday. I know. In fact, it's very true. It's very true. I know. Absolutely. The time is just flying by. 1, 2, 3. For me, for some reason, it's the Wednesday when I mentally kind of register that 1 week has passed by. I don't know why. Wednesday is the day. Maybe it's just my timetable. Because Wednesdays, I probably have most classes on Wednesday. So for some reason, when Wednesday arrives, I kind of, in my mind, it register as 1 week. It's strange like that. 1, 2, 3. Yes. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's worth counting, or it's all going to end in tears. I'm scared when my work looks like this. I'm just mentally thinking maybe it's going to go pear-shaped. If I'm wrong with one block, I'm more likely to be wrong the other block. But luckily, this is pre-gridded, so hopefully it helps a little bit. So instead of keep going to the right, or maybe I should, yes, I'm gonna keep it going, guys. It's gonna be that kind of stitching session. I'm gonna improvise. 1, 2, 3. And secretly hoping the thread is going to run out at some point. So I'm using CXC, so it's very full, even on 25 counts. You can't really tell when you look at loose stitches. It looks like, oh, the coverage is okay. But if you look at the stitch section, it's completely fully covered. No problem there. So I have 2 stitches here. Oh, Rose mentioned, I was thinking the same, Rose. I've been thinking most days, because this is about a viewer who in the beginning of, just about a month ago was a regular. She was always the first one to say hello in the chat. Her name's Gayla. Her handle is is it GNE or GMB? I think it's GMB. And about a month ago, a few weeks ago, she just came on here and go, I had a stroke last night. And I thought she was joking until I realized she wasn't joking. So I don't know what her condition is. I haven't seen her back because she came back on the chat the day after she had the stroke. So I was hoping that it was quite minor and, you know, maybe she was recovering, but we haven't heard anything from her. So yes, I think of her quite frequently because she was so loyal to the channel when there weren't that many people watching. She was always there waiting for the stream to start, and she would come on to say hello. The first, you know, she was always the first one. And I remember stuff like that. It means a lot to me. So I hope, Gayla, if you're watching, maybe you can't, you know, join the chat just yet. We're thinking of you. And speedy recovery. And you're going to come back and join us very soon. All the prayers from everyone to you. It's, you know, stroke is something that can happen so, you know, so suddenly. So, please take care of yourself, everyone. One, two. And it's running a little bit short, the thread, so I'm feeling a little bit better. Otherwise, I'll have to keep going. Badu, he says, I've been working on golden kite, cross stitch, blended colors. Oh, it's very time consuming. Blended colors are interesting. Yes, I've got I think only one project that's got blended colors. It's the craft room. Yes, blended color is interesting. I mean, I remember when I was doing a lot of dimensions kit, particularly the gold collections, they do a lot of blended colors. It's a bit of a hassle because you have to kind of, you know, pick the right threads, right colors, put them aside, ready for you. So from here, I think this one would be my last stitch for this color. I've wandered quite far, and I'm going to do a boomerang here. And this is our new way of ending that we learned here on the live stream. And this is not the prettiest boomerang, but hopefully I think it should be nice and secure. It's okay. It will blend in when I stitch around it. So I'm warming up, guys. I'm warming up. This is not the prettiest boomerang. It will be fine. But Dewey says I'll never do blended colors again. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Yes, prayers to Gayla. Prayers to Gayla. I'm sure she will be back. She loves this channel, so she will be back. She'll be back. We're waiting for you. Shara says, oh yes, Shara is working on European Bistro, which is the kit from Dimensions as well. It's one of the Dimensions gold, because Dimensions, they come in, you know, all sorts of sizes. Some are very small, but Dimension golds are most involved. They tend to be slightly fuller coverage, and this piece, European Bistro, might be fully covered. I can't remember, close anyway, and a lot of blended colors. Yes, it's a beautiful piece. I do have the kit, but I'm not sure if I still have the the pattern, because this paper pattern is always slightly tricky with paper pattern. First color done. Okay, move on to the next one. So far so good, so far so good. I had to wander slightly far because it really depends on how much thread I've got left. So it's something to be considered. And here, the second one, oh, it's a habit. With past threads in the block, I just automatically do this and start working from the bottom. But I'm doing typewriter, okay? A twisted typewriter method. So I'm going from top and navigate through the past threads. Got to remember that. Have to remember. And Tracy Dumas is here. Hello to Tracy. And Sarah is here as well. Hello, Sarah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's probably good afternoon there. I think for most people in maybe North America, it's good afternoon, right? It's afternoon time. How nice. The day is still young over there. So I'll decide what to do with this, because I've got a whole bunch of part threads to navigate through. This is such a beautiful piece, and I know Nikki, I don't know whether she's joining us today, but Nikki's been working on it as well. And the last time I checked, she was over 10%, maybe 12%, and she started like very recently. That's so crazy. So I'm feeling competitive. I want to move forward a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Here. And just for clarity, I'm going to start from top to bottom here. I think it's a little bit better. 5:30, that's right, just before supper time. 6:30 for Cheryl. And over here, hush hush. Half an hour to midnight in London town. But it doesn't feel like it, because I literally just come back from work. So, you know, I'm allowed to play a little bit. And 2 here. 1 more. So I have to navigate through the past threads here. Obviously, it's not part of the typewriter message. This is transitional stage, transitional stage. It happens a lot because I change method quite frequently. So a lot of times I go from parking to no parking, and no parking to parking, etc. So far so good. I'm feeling good. I think my eyes are getting used to reading half stitches. I think my problem with cross country is when the stitches start to float away, my eyes just not understanding exactly where they are. Whereas the full cross is very easy. It occupies the entire grid. Whereas half stitches, you just feel like there's a lot of empty space around, and it's much harder to read. their positions. But I think I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Two here. Let me double check. 1, 2. 1, 2, and move up. It's so fast though. I almost feel guilty. There you go. Quite a few stitches of this color. But in some ways, strangely, I'm actually doing, because the grids are so pronounced, I'm kind of doing color completion without knowing. I'm literally just completing this block where I supposed to kind of flow a little bit more freely. I'm trying to get my head around here. So this one is going to be my boomerang stitch. And if you don't know what boomerang is, it's a great way to end your half stitches, your 10 stitches, without doing a pin or anything like that. And it's quite secure, quite secure. Right, we mark these stitches. And let's go from top to bottom. Should I? Yes. I'm trying to be disciplined with the typewriter. So instead of picking up the next part thread, I'm going to just pick this symbol. So it's about following the symbol from the top left corner, the highest position, and work toward the right. So it's like a typewriter. This is a typewriter bit. So the next symbol would be 317. It's a dark gray. Quite a surprise. I didn't see dark gray entering this area. Leslie says, I'm working on River Walk charm up to 82%. You and River, you too, are close to completion. How amazing. I think River is very, very close. Yes, Leslie says, I can see the finish line way off in the distance. Yes, the final sprint. Absolutely. I wonder what that feels like because I never experienced that, yet to experience it. So you can tell me what it's like. It would take a while before I get there with any one of my pieces. So I'd like to hear your experience. Here we go. So I'm folding my thread in half. So with the CXC master set, I cut my thread slightly longer. So even when I'm sort of folded in half, it's still pretty long. So it means I'll probably wander a little bit further than, slightly away from my comfort zone, which could be fun or horrendous. Who knows? Who knows? We'll find out. I've got my helmet on, my safety gear on, with my seatbelt fastened. So I'm good to go. Stitch safely, everyone. Two here. And then I'm going to move down here, navigating through my thread here, my part thread. Okay, so it's over here. Where am I? Where am I exactly? Two up, two down, one more here. Okay. Leslie says there will be tears of joy. Yes, definitely report back. We'll give you tons and tons of medals and trophies, all that. One, two. Oh, it's up here. Goodness. Never mind. No one will notice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. I'm one stitch off there. But no one will know. You don't know. You didn't see that. I just did one extra stitch down there. That's not supposed to happen. And then one more from here. This one. Next one is on the next block. And down. One, two, two. And three from top. I literally have to describe it so I know what I'm doing. Because otherwise I just 1, 2. So everybody's finishing their piece. Oh, right, yes. River, you've got 2 on the go, aren't you? So one is 85, one is 96. That is so close. My goodness. How does that translate into in stitch number-wise? That sounds so close. It's almost like final page or something like that. One, two here. Another one. Right. I think there's only one more stitch here. It's the last stitch of this color, so I am going to end here. Ooh, what a relief. A spot of boomerang here. And Badu, he asks, do you have a video on how to organize the floss for big projects like, oh, how many zeros is that? 300,000 stitches. Any advice? Do I have a video? I do have a video that I walk through roughly how I organize my thread. So they generally, I have a set for each brand of threads. For instance, this one is quite big. Let me just quickly move around. I think this is a topic a lot of people are interested, so I might as well show it again. So this one is marked CXC, which is what it is. So I've got a full set here. Okay, it looks quite scary, but it's all bound together with two rings there. Let me just move this away a little bit more to have a little bit of space. So, so basically these are individual thread cards. They look, you probably look, they look quite familiar. So I just punch holes and then stick a piece of felt on top. So I can either part my needles or just thread the thread through if I don't want to part the needle. So you can see both happening there. So this is how I organize my thread. So this is the master set for, it has spaces for all, well, it's the same as DMC color chart. So I've got all spaces reserved for all colors. And what I normally do is, because I've built up so many colors already, and there's some of them, obviously, they're empty. That means I haven't come across them with any of my projects. So they remain empty until I come across them and I add some or a whole bunch of thread and keep it with a set here. And so this is how I do it. I do the same with DMC. I do the same with my 14 count projects. There's 4 of them. They all the threads come together because the threads, the floss came with the kit, and so that's one set. And one other set for Gecko Rouge, which is project on its own, and they come in with their own floss and color numbers. So this is how I do it. So I have 4 sets and that's it. And all the projects I work with CXC, I use this one and slowly building up the number. So the cards here, there's several ways of doing it. You probably see people cut off the PDF. They come with Heaven and Earth and just use the numbers and print them out and strengthen them with clear tapes, and some of them have those fancy machines to apply a sort of a layer of plastic to make them hard. But I just use cardboard. I printed them out and handwritten them with numbers. Not the prettiest things, but it works really well. So this is basically how I do it. It's very simple, and I would recommend this lady. You probably, I don't know whether you've come across her already, called Stitching Masterpieces. She's very clever, and she's got a tutorial, a full video, just to show you how she made those thread cards and organizers, how to put the organizer together. So a lot of us draw inspiration from her. For instance, the plastic bag at the bottom to protect the floss here, we'll borrow from her idea. So I recommend to look her up, Stitching Masterpieces. And it's really handy once you get a set going. The maintenance is pretty easy. I think if you make individual sets, some people prefer to do that. You're gonna, if you have as many whips as me, you're gonna end up with a lot of different sets, which I don't want to. So I decided to just, combine them together, which has made my life a lot easier. So I hope that helps a little bit. And, people have different preferences of organizing their thread. And, it has to flow with the way you work, however you work. That's it. So there's no one method works for everybody. But I like things to be easy. The less I have to do, the better. So I remember when I kitted up the first full color project. Oh, you're welcome, Vaduhi. It's an important part of stitching, projects like this, because if you haven't got that system kind of settled, it could be very chaotic, because at one point I kept buying those Paco floss keeper, floss organizers from Amazon. And currently I probably have 10 of them, but when you're stitching something like Max Colors, there's no enough number of those organizers are sufficient, and they take up so much space, let alone the cost of buying them. But with, just simple floss cards, you can make a home, and it's very compact. And it's been working really well. It's a stress test throughout probably over 2 years, or maybe close to 3 years I've been working this way. I haven't found any sort of problems with it. So it's probably a kind of testament of, the current organization works for me. And I think, you will probably need to make some modifications to make it work for you. And then once it's settled, it's done. It's there ready for you. So let me see where I can go with this, because I've got these part threads here, and there are a few more stitches here with this color. It's funny that if I transition from parking to non-parking, I just can't wait to get rid of the part threads. And the other way around, if I'm going from cross-country to parking, I just focus on so much, just building up or planting all the part threads. It just keeps me busy. And so this block will be slightly trickier because I have a lot of the threads here going on there. Nicole says, I work from a master set too. I keep mine on bobbins, okay, in a double-sided box. I started with floss drops, but found I didn't like it. Yeah, I think floss drop can be a little bit messy because everything's dangling there, and most people probably combine them, link them up in a circle. It really depends on what kind of project you're working with. If you're doing samplers, that type of stuff, floss drops is kind of sufficient, But if you're working on max colors, heaven and earth, we're talking 200, up to 40 colors. I think Little Cake Shop has got 240 something colors. Yeah, you just can't rely on sort of systems like that. It's just not efficient. So it really depends on what type of project you do and the number of colors you have to deal with each project. So Sarah uses bobbins too. I'm not a favorite. I'm not a fan of bobbins. I don't like all the wrapping of floss, and also when you take them out, you have to straighten them. Too much work. Too much work. But you know, the lady, what's her name? Gemma Stitches. She uses envelopes. I don't know whether she still does it that way. But I remember watching one of the videos there, and she's got just sort of boxes of envelopes with you know, each envelope for one color, and she would just keep some threads of that color in the envelope, sorted by number, and she just go in there and just take out the envelope of the color she wants. So everybody's has their own methods. River says, how do you know when it's time to buy more floss? Very good question. And, you know, that's what I'm trying to sort out currently, because I'm planning to top up some DMC floss. And so I'm kind of gathering a list. So I do have I'm not very disciplined, I have to say, so I'm probably not the best person for this, but I do have a spreadsheet, like Google Sheet, that I keep just with the ones, you know, as I'm working through projects and take out the amount of floss, then I'll go, well, do I have backup? Do I have spares? I have another bag away from my master set of my DMC drawer thing, you know, the wooden drawer set. I do have a separate bag that I keep my extras. And so if the set from my wooden drawer is running low, let's say by low, I mean about only 50% left. For me, that's low. Then I would check my backup to see if I have more of that color. If not, I would put that number on my spreadsheet. And so I know that when I'm ready to top up, because I don't want to buy like one scan here and there, I want to buy them together. So I have a list gradually sort of generated, and I'll put probably number of scans I want, roughly. Just look at remaining amount of stitches on, you know, certain projects. And a lot of colors are shared between multiple projects, so, you know, but it's just estimate. And then when the list is grown meaningful enough, maybe over 20 colors, and I'll go and buy a batch. And then I try to, if I'm organized, then I'll just mark them as purchased, so I know I have extra for that color. So next time when I check, I could check, you know, like extra bag, or I can just look at the spreadsheet. The reason I have to check the bag because I'm not consistent with the list, so I can't trust my list there entirely. But I'm getting better, because reorganization is important. You don't want to run out. I don't like the idea of running out of any color. I always buy more than less, you know. I'm just one of those people. I'd rather be safe than sorry. There. So this color is done. Yeah, Gemma Stitches. Did I say it differently? I shouldn't butcher her name. She's one of my favorite floss tubers. Betty says, how do you keep your thread from curling when you pull them out in your system, Yogi? They don't curl much. I'm about to take out another thread and I can show you. So I'm going for 3A60. And I think this is the beauty of keeping your thread straight like this. Let me zoom out a little bit again. So this is why I don't like bobbins. With this system, basically, it's almost a QVC. This system, £2.99. Basically, you're allowing the floss to just drape below. And all you need is to put it back to protect them. But they're relatively straight. So when I take out, let me go for 3A60. Okay, so I just want to show you what it's like when you take a thread out. When you organize your threads like this. 3A60. Here it is. So it might look slightly messy, but all it is, if I pick out one thread, right, 3A60 here, pull it out gently, so not too much friction there. This is straight, no problem. There's no curling here. So I think sometimes when you pull really hard, if you pack your thread really tight in an organizer, sometimes, particularly DMC, I find when you pull it out, it starts to curl up like crazy. But I think DMC, CXC is a little bit better in that regard. Maybe it's just different material. It's blended with polyester, I think, and 50% cotton. You don't find a lot of curling, but even DMC. Let me see if I can grab my DMC set here, just to show you. I'm trying to find my DMC set. I have them here earlier on. Okay, let me show you my Gecko Rouge. The thread from Gecko Rouge is also DMC. So I'm keeping them exactly the same way. Okay, and if I pull one thread out, because they're keeping, they're quite loose. The way they're being, organized. If I pull them out, I think the MC could potentially curl up a little bit more. You can tell there's a little bit of a curling there, but it's not too bad. All you have to do when you thread your needles, just give them a gentle smooth, just smooth it out a little bit, and it's fine. What you don't want to do is to create too much friction, and you start to, wear the thread out a little bit. So the way you keep your threads, your floss, will have impact on what happens when you pull them out of the system. You don't want to pack them so tight that you have to create so much friction. They start to curl. So no problem here. It's totally nice and smooth here. And I know some people probably run them through water. Is it water or sponge? I think maybe it was Suzanne. She's not here today, but I remember she said kind of run them through wet sponge, which I never had a need to do because it's no problem here. So Shara says, I know you have a lot more testing to do, but what's your favorite stitching method so far? Oh, that's a tricky question. That's a good question, but very tricky. Very tricky. My favorite, my default. Do I have a favorite? It really depends on whether I want to park or not. I do love parking, but I also love not parking. It really depends on the mood and the project I'm doing. If I'm not parking, I think mini cross country would be the most intuitive method for me. I can just, ease away from the stitch area gradually, which, that I probably use that method for most of my projects, 25 counts, most of the time, but it evolves. It really evolves. If I'm parking, then block by block, color completion, diagonal is probably my default. But it's a hard question because I switch methods so much. It's whichever method I'm doing tends to be my favorite. With some exception, I think royal rolls, I'm still trying to, figure out whether I like it or not. Not quite sure yet. And this method, the current method, typewriter, I'm going to love. So, so do I have a favorite? No. I do have a group of favorite methods like cycle around, if that makes sense. Depends on whether I want to park or not. So that's a convoluted, very long-winded answer for you. But it's a tough question. It's a tough question. It's almost like asking, have you got a favorite project? Ooh, I wouldn't even attempt to answer that. I think this one's part incorrectly, so I'm going to snip that off. Yes, Gemma is lovely. I do love her. Oh, Betty says, I use the snack size baggies and index with a number. Scans behind the card. Okay. And any leftover thread is in the front. Oh, I have to see it to understand exactly what that is. To be used first next time, or kept in the plastic shoe boxes. That sounds very similar to Gemma's, because what Gemma does is her envelope with number attached not only store the threads, new threads that's waiting to be used, but also leftover pieces as well. If they're long enough, they will keep. She will keep the piece inside the envelope as well. I think, as far as I can remember. Yes, I have also seen floss tubers. Maybe I understood incorrectly. Basically, if they take a piece of thread like this, they do a couple of stitches, and if there's no more stitches of that color, they throw this piece away. I thought, no, no, don't do that. Don't keep them. Because some people like doing what is it called, loop start. So they kind of give up the floss, the thread, when they can't do loop start with it, which is insane. There are other methods. Moving to the right here. Just move it away, tidy up a little bit. It doesn't look too mad. We don't want the project to look insane, like being stitched by a crazy person. One, two, three. Let me see where I'm going to take it. I think I'm going to break it down. Oh, Betty says, I try something like yours, but when I pull the curve bulky, I think maybe you pat them too tight. So when you thread them through, just keep it loose. Don't pull them, you know, I mean, you want to pull them, tuck them in so it doesn't fall out. They won't when you have sort of long bits at the bottom. Just keep it quite loose here. So, you know, you don't want to wear your floss out by pulling them too tight. I haven't got any problems so far. So give it a go. One, two, it's here. And one here. I really like this method actually. It just kind of gives me a lot of freedom, but still, you know, you're working under certain order. So with cross country, sometimes I gradually just kind of start to feel not very connected, because it's cross country, you can just literally go anywhere and you pick a direction. And so there's an element of lack of discipline, I think. For me, I want some rules to follow. It makes it fun, but not being too restricted, if that makes sense. So there's still a little bit of a structure to follow. And I think cross country, the default method is just a bit too, I don't think free is a good description. Kind of lack of structure, at least for me, because you could just, you know, do a bit of this here and there everywhere. So I'm looking for some structure. Give me something to follow. And, you know, the fact that with Typewriter you have to follow a certain order with a symbol kind of gives me that, you know, that extra rules to follow. But at the same time, you could, you know, stitch all direction. Grace says, I downloaded an app to my phone called Thread Organizer. Okay, on iOS or Android. And she says, I added my DMC inventory to it. When I get down to one scan, I add that number to the shopping section. Lovely. That sounds amazing. And it also has a calculator. That sounds ideal. Yes, you can definitely use an app to do that. I haven't really explored that element, so I just use a simple spreadsheet, kind of a list. It doesn't do any calculation, but I can sort the orders, create categories. But I think an app would be great. Yes, that's a great idea. But, you know, it doesn't matter which tool you use. Ultimately, you have to be disciplined enough to put in the data, right? If not, you know, just no way to track it. And I'm not very disciplined in that, you know, regard. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I go, oh, I'll do it later, even though The thread is running low, but oh, I'm wandering a little bit far here. It's interesting. Two here, let's have a look. Susan says parking blows my mind. Yeah, some people just can't park or don't want to park. It's just not for them. And River says, I don't like parking with one thread. I wonder why that is. I don't mind parking a single strand or double strand. I like the thread management part of it, part thread management. And I know it's not for everyone. But I like the kind of chaos is not a word, but it's kind of order in chaos, I find. There's certain beauty to it. I like it. You know, when you look at this, if you have never seen part threads before, you just wander in this live stream and just think the person has lost her mind. Why would you do that? One thread is enough, you know, one at a time. What is wrong with you? But once you understand the advantage and the organization of the part thread, you start to see the beauty in the method. One more here. River says, someone recently asked me which is my favorite finish and had to tell them, well, I love them all. I know. Because these type of projects, you know, you don't finish them in one day or week. You stick with them for years. And if you stay with them for, you know, for multiple years, you're in love with them, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to go that far. You'd probably give up. You know, like Joyce did a purge, UFO purge. I haven't done that yet. There are projects I kind of just leave them in a bag in a cupboard. But with still in my mind, I'm thinking maybe someday I'll go back and work on them. I haven't sort of thrown away any project at this point. Or given up, you know, just go, well, I'll never work on them again. It hasn't happened yet. Sarah says, I was using bags before, but was taking up too much space. So I just, this week, put them on bobbins. Oh, interesting. But bobbins take up a lot of space as well if you're having the full set of DMC. And yes, that's a lot of work, isn't it? A lot of work. Just put them on bobbins, which I don't enjoy. One, two, one here, and then 4 from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4 there. And this one, okay, there's one more to the right. I was about to end it, but there's actually 3 more on the second block here. And this is the page border. I think it's page 2. So I am going to just do these 3. I'm being very adventurous here. This is not a usual yogi you're looking at. She's a change person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Two, 3. And then one more. I need to move it. I've gone so far that I have to move the stem so you can see it. I'm going to do a boomerang. I'm going to end my thread here. There. Let me see if I can make this a tiny bit smaller. Let me take a sip of my tea before it gets cold. Oh, Cheryl says you can always do a loop start, just winds up being a smaller piece of thread. True, yes, you could just fold it in half anyway. Particularly if you're doing single stitches, right? That happens a lot. You could. So I'm going back to my typewriting here. And the next one, I do have the thread part already. Yeah. Badu, he says, I felt like with parking is less errors. And Gemma says, yes, in theory, if you park them in a correct position, right? Then I think, yes, in theory, cross country, when I say theory, my iPad just come up with Siri says, hello.
Hello, how can I help?
Oh my God, Siri, please go away. I don't need you right now. Bye. I hope I didn't hurt Siri's feeling, but I really don't need him talking to me right now. What was I saying? I was saying I lost the train of thought. I can't remember what I was saying before Siri interrupted me. So this is what I have to put up with. Oh, Betty says, I like to play thread chicken. Same here, same here. I think for me, thread chicken is partially to conserve the thread, but also, you know, there is a more sort of philosophical element to it. If you think about these beautiful threads, you know, all this, they're made in this to come to this world to be stitched, aren't they? It's like paint. They're meant to be painted, and I understand you know, through stitching, some pieces will have to be wasted or thrown away. But I'm doing my best to, you know, eliminate that happening, because you're, in a way, if you just throw them away out of, you know, I wouldn't even say convenience, you deprive them from fulfilling their destiny, which is to be on top or at the back of a piece of project. So when I do thread chicken, I do it out of love. So it's my expression of love when I try to save them from being wasted. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you see, I've got it incorrectly already. So I've got 1 stitch too low. The thing with cross country is, if you have 1 stitch in the incorrect position and use that as a reference, which, you know, you do, and then the rest will be incorrect as well. It's just the way it is. 4 and 5 here. No one will know. No one will know. So I'm going to end this thread here. Whoops. Let me see if I can pull this down. A little bit of a mess here. Stitching Oregon says, I tend to use typewriting on most of my projects. If I can't complete my thread, I'll park it nearby. Okay, so incorporating parking as well. She says, if it's too far away, I'll end the thread. I like to play thread chicken. Join the club, the thread chicken club. Yes, but Stitching Oregon, do you not run into the part thread when you do typewriting? Because it's possible, right? It really depends on how far you go with your threads. So I think that's probably why I choose not to park. But having said that, there have been occasions that I do cross country and parking at the same time. If you know. And it really depends, because I do quite short distance cross country. So, you know, occasionally I run into part threads, but not too bad. So I guess it's probably doable. So now coming back to the top row to find my next symbol, and managing my part threads at the same time from previous message. So now I'm looking for 451. 451. 451. I've got one threaded already. Stitching Oregon says, when my threads get too small and I have to end them, I have a jar that I keep them in. I have seen some people like ornaments of them with a year, and it's not wasted. Yes, I actually saw that on Gemma Stitch's Instagram, and we have talked about that on one of our streams. We actually browse the pictures and look at them together. Yes, I think what she did was she bought some sort of container, like a Bobo Christmas decoration there, and she just put all her sort of pieces that she couldn't use anymore there, and you know, turn into really pretty decoration for Christmas. Yes, I haven't tried that yet, but I think that's a nice idea. And so I'm starting with that one. Few stitches down here with this color. So far so good, not bad. I think my eyes are just getting used to reading half stitches a little bit more. Hey, Frankie's here. Hello, Frankie. I know, typo. Everybody has typo. Autocorrection is a terrible thing. Two. So with the class I taught this evening, on Monday evenings, I use essential oil for the classes in yoga class. So even now I can smell all essential oil, a lovely smell. I've got a whole stash of essential oil, so I just blend them myself. So different concoctions for different things. And the students love it. So generally I don't teach classes, or I try not to teach classes in the evening because I like to keep things in the daytime. So in the evening I can sort of relax and, you know, wind down and do some stitching, something like that. But this class is too good to let it go, because it's a class I really enjoy teaching. I enjoy all of them, but this one as well. And generally I teach vinyasa or hatha. This is one of the few in yoga classes I teach. And it's really rewarding because you look at how relaxed the students are when they walk away from the class. You know, sometimes they look stressed out, agitated in the beginning, and then you see the transformation at the end. It's very rewarding. And this class is always fully booked and overbooked. A lot of people on waiting list. It's like today when I walked out of, you know, when I finished the class and walked out of the studio, literally is close to fully booked. So it's a very popular class. And with that comes some sense of responsibility. You know, I don't want to let them down. I want to give them a really good practice every week. 1, 2, 1 over here. Heather H is here. She says, "Hi Yogi, happy Monday. I've been lurking." You and many others. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. You can lurk as much as you want. Welcome to the chat. I tend to be a lurker as well when it comes to live stream. I get it. Gonna end my thread here. Whoops. There. Betty says, "I was surprised to see you today, it being Monday." I know, so I think it was 2 weeks ago, I kind of announced that Mondays will be the rest day because, you know, I have a late class. Like today I started really late. But following week, I did take a week off, like not the entire week, but the following Monday off. And I realized, you know, even though I came in quite late, but I sat down and started stitching after having some food. And then I was thinking, what am I doing? If I'm stitching, I might as well stitch with you. So I decided to abolish that rule, that decision. But who knows? I mean, there will be probably weeks or either Monday or evenings that, you know, if I need to cover for someone or something comes up, then I'll let you know that I can't do it that day, but it hasn't happened yet, so keep the streak going. Why not? It's fun. It's fun to do. It's fun to chat with you, stitch with you, because this is how I would stitch on my own anyway, to be honest. Maybe I'm a little bit more focused because, you know, I kind of commit to sitting here. So if I stitch on my own, I might get distracted a little bit more. So I'm looking for color 327. 327. Let me see. Oops. There. So I'm picking the color between these two stitches. And I think there's something quite satisfying with this method because, you know, as you're following through the symbols, you are defining, you're filling up the top, you know, border, which is quite satisfying. Whereas cross country, sometimes, you know, it's not uncommon that I'll stitch, you know, most of the surrounding area, but there's one stitch on top that's still unstitched for whatever reason. But with this message, you are committed. to stitch the top row first. There. There's some decision making on where you want to take your threads to, which makes it, well, in some way less predictable, but also more fun, because you do have to make that judgment call, because you can literally take your thread to any direction. Two. Let me see. Why do I look at it? Alright, it's over here. So I just made a slightly incorrect stitch. But no one will know. No one will notice. One, two, three here. Gray says the typewriter method is becoming my favorite way of stitching. I know. I didn't, I've been sort of contemplating on trying it for a little while. So even though in my mind, I knew the general kind of rules and, the method itself, but I didn't know I was going to like it this much, because I've seen the video done by Stitching Mummy, who is the OG of this method. She pioneered this method. But until I actually tried it, I didn't really appreciate, the kind of freedom and the fun factor, So you just never know until you try it. And yes, I think the fact that I'm doing it again on this project probably means I like it a lot. So, but a couple of things I have to tweak. Obviously, I'm not very disciplined. As I said, I kind of call it broken typewriter or deranged typewriter. It's the fact that there will be occasions that I would abandon, doing page by page, and then continue to extend the horizontal line, the top row, and not particularly, commit to filling a certain area, like a page or half a page, whatever definition it is. So I kind of leave that open. And I kind of like that, because it takes that restriction from my head, thinking, oh my God, I have to do an entire page before I can move to the next section, which kind of feels quite a lot. I don't generally do page by page unless I have to. Because if you think about a page, is such an arbitrary definition because it depends on the patterns. A page size for Heaven and Earth is different from Gecko Rouge, for instance. So it's just, I think it's coming from the print world, you know, back in those days when you have to print out your projects, everything's paper based, and they have to fit a certain number of stitches onto a A4 sheet. And I think that's how the page definition has come about. So it doesn't have any intrinsic meaning to it as far as stitching goes. So I'm going to end this thread here. Whereas block by block has meaning, you know, block by block has meaning because it contains a certain stitch count based on the fabric. There you go. This color is done. So I'm going back to my top row again. And this time I'm looking for 779. And I noticed on our Facebook group, and we do have a group. If you haven't joined or not aware of our group, the link is in the description of this stream, this video, if you're watching playback. And I noticed in our group, quite a few people try Typewriter for the first time as well. And the feedback seems to be so far so good. I think most people enjoy it. And that's nice. Just one more option, you know, on the menu that you can tap into. And that's always nice. Gray says I'm doing page by page, but if I have a thread color left, the only place to go is the next page. I'll do so. Yeah, if you're happy working so page by page, for me it's too vast. I think in my mind I tend to work block by block or within a kind of closed area. A page for me is just too big. So if I follow the typewriter method, you know, strictly, then in theory I should do the typewriting within maybe a page, or I could do the entire project, which I'm not going to do, or a fixed number of blocks in terms of width, and then stitch all the way down before I move to the next section. And for me, that is probably too much a commitment. So I'm happy to follow the, you know, from the top row to the bottom type of thing, top down, but I don't want to be restricted to a page width. So that's the only thing I'm tweaking. And 2 here. So far so good. I'm not as lost as last time. I don't know whether it's because the typewriting rule, or I'm just more used to looking at half stitches. Because the last time wasn't pretty when I did mini cross country. It wasn't pretty. here, over there, there's one stitch here. Let me see. One, two. It's still a little bit scary though when I start to wander off a little bit further than my normal comfort distance. I do get a little bit nervous. River says, I'm currently doing deranged typewriter within 6x2 area. Okay, so you do have a kind of self-defined area that you're doing it. Yeah, I think by 2, the height 2 is probably a good idea. Yeah, if you have that definition, kind of, you know, the area defined, maybe there's something I could try as well, because the whole concept of doing the entire page within that, you know, width is just too much for me, for my brain to handle. But I think, you know, 6x2 sounds very reasonable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's about that wide. Yes, and then 2. So what happens after you fill in the 2 block height? Do you then allow yourself to extend it to the right, or what do you do? Or you just move down and continue? One, two, three. Here. One, two, three. Four. One, two, three. I need to count, otherwise they just get lost. 1, 2, 3 here. And I'm going to, I've still got some thread left. 1, 2, 3. I think I might move it down here. I'm getting a little bit adventurous. One, two. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3 from top. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is it. I'm not going any further. I'm going to end my thread here. River says, after that, after I've completed 6x2 area, I go down the 2 block high. And when I get to the bottom, it's time to move my hoop. So in a way you are following, oh, I see. So you come to a hard stop within the 2 block high. Because in theory, if you're just doing a page high, the page size, for instance, you are essentially doing what you're doing now, But you know, you might have some loose stitches outside the 2 block high boundary. So do you come to a hard stop here, and once you complete that, you move down, because you just keep flowing down. It kind of creates similar kind of results, isn't it? If you're not moving sideways, you're just moving down anyway. Very interesting. Maybe it gives you more structure in the sense that you have that sense of completion of an area. That's probably quite nice as well. That's why block by block sometimes is very good for the mind, because when you fill in a block, you feel like you've accomplished something. Whereas if you go cross country, you just go endlessly, go on, and sometimes you just lose the motivation because you know the end point is very far away. So, at least for my mind. Let's see. Let's mark this one here. And I think there are a couple of stitches I forgot to mark. That was causing a little bit of confusion there. So let me mark them properly. And then I'm coming back to this one. That's the next symbol on the top row. 3834, 3834. Hey babe, that's my cat Dolly. She comes to visit me whenever I'm sitting down to stitch, try to concentrate. Hello babe. Hey, how are you? Right. So from here, I'm going to do a boomerang as a start. River says yes. Yeah. So that's the only difference. You come to hard stop on a 2-block high rather than just keep flowing downwards. That's very interesting. River says, when I'm on the second row, I'll start going into the next 2-block high. What do you mean by second row? I'll start going to the next block high. Let me see. But I think even within the method, there's so many things you could modify to make it work for individual, you know. Yeah, exactly, River. You just tweak it until it works. Same here. That's why it's deranged, and it's okay. It's a very happy, deranged typewriter. Oops. One more here. So far, so good. Oh, I just had a quick look at my stitch count. Utterly shocking. Utterly shocking. And I think I'm going to take it down here. One, two. And to be honest, if you haven't tried half stitches, give it a go. Because prior to this year, beginning of this year, I had a lot of resistance towards half stitches as well. You know, I just felt like it's almost cheating. You know, you're only doing half of the stitch, which is, you know, quite true. But it's a different way of stitching. If you want some sort of reset or palette cleanser from doing full cross, give this a try. And you can pick a mini project, you know, less of a commitment, and try it, see if you like it. And I suspect you would. Let me see there. One, two, three. There. And then one more. It's amazing how full half stitches can be. And I'm using CXC, which probably helps a little bit. Let me see. Oh, it's got jam. I am going to snip that bit off. Not a prettiest ending, but no one will notice. Where am I? One, two. I'm gonna cut this bit off. Actually, I don't know what happened there. The thread just decided to go rogue. Runaway thread. It's quite okay. Amazing. Another color done. Now 3A, 3, 5. 3A, 3, 5. I've got one threaded already. So you can see this line is already forming quite nicely. And Oops. It's quite satisfying when to look at the top row filling up. The 3 stitches. I'm gonna take it down here. Stitching Oregon says, Yogi, I really love the color you're using today. Yes, because if you look at the mock-up, so the part I'm stitching is the tiles and the back. Let me pull up the full and see how beautiful those tiles at the back transition from the upper left, which is blue, royal blue, and slowly ease into the kind of slightly purple, and when it gets to the right side, it goes into darker purple. It's just beautiful. The color scheme is just beautiful. And all the objects, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's such a beautiful piece. Yes, and it's a feast to the eyes as well when you're looking at your threads, the colors so closely. A lot of times I forget what I'm actually stitching, as in subject matter. I'm just enjoying the colors up the thread, which is so nice. And that's what it's about. It's not an end goal, it's the journey. Marking the threads here. I am going to take it over to the right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. The fact the fabric is gridded probably helps as well. Because if you keep counting rather than just relying on the stitches you already made and cross-reference, it's probably you have better chance of not making mistakes. And even if you do, it will stay within, that block rather than domino effect. And the transition is so gradual and so beautiful. It makes total sense. You know, there's no sudden changes there, and it blends in so well. And it's probably a testament of how well heaven and earth charts are. You know, impeccable. It's just beautiful. One more stitch here. And I think this will be my boomerang stitch. You know, with the boomerang stitch, because the method is to thread and pull a needle through the loop like this, and then tuck it under to the bottom left where you're coming from. But I find it creates the same effect if you go up to the upper right as well. So, because when I go to the bottom left, sometimes it creates sort of slippage of the thread. When I pull it through the upper right, at least so far, I haven't got the slip stitch situation just yet. I don't know how it works. I'm not the fabric expert. I'm sure there's a reason for it. But I think putting the needle down to tuck the stitch down through upper right works as well. I haven't noticed sort of the difference. I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. Oh, lovely. So that line has kind of built up quite nicely, and the next stitch I'm going to, the symbol I'm going to find is this one, this tiny little thing here, and it is 37A7, 37A7. It's beautiful green. It's quite a surprise. Suddenly you have this green coming through. There's a little bit of green going on there, but every color, every stitch, every symbol is a surprise. Here. So, even though my starting stitch should be here, but there's another stitch to the left here. It's the same color. That's a slightly lower position. I'm going to allow myself to stitch this one first because it doesn't make any difference. I'm going to stitch all these ones. But by starting from the left, obviously, it flows better. So I don't know whether Stitching Mummy is going to get mad at me. If so, apologies, Stitching Mummy. This is my limitation as far as rule following goes. I'm going to break the rules. Don't judge me. Right. Well, let me bring that up. The markup. Beautiful. This one, I'm going to move it down here. Feels like it's starting to flow a little bit more because now I have less pass thread to deal with. So it's a little bit easier. So let's see, where do I go? I am going to take it down here. Nicole says, to quote Needlebug, the only rules in cross stitch are the ones you make for yourself. Very true. But at the same time, I like to follow rules to a certain extent because it's fun, right? Or methods, because if anything goes, then we probably get a little bit lost. It's a balance between certain form of discipline versus, you know, some flexibility there. But you're quite right. Rules are only there if you're willing to follow them. So this kind of pattern feels very unfamiliar for me. I rarely create this kind of formation of stitches. Even when I do cross-country, mini cross-country, I tend to flow away from stitch area, like a main area. So you will have, you know, floating stitches like slightly away, a little bit like this, more like this, when I cross country. And I rarely wander beyond 2 blocks. And you rarely see my work having this kind of loose stitches everywhere. It's very unusual. It's a brand new world. 1, 2, 3, 4 from the right. I think that this will be my last one for this color. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I hope Needlebug is doing well. I think she's selling and moving house, which can be very stressful. I wish her the best. That looks very interesting. So I'm going to keep following. I think the page border is up to here. So I've got a little bit to go. I'm going to use the page border as the stopping point for now. But as I mentioned before, with my deranged typewriter method, is the fact that once I fill in this area a little bit more, if I feel like it, I can just keep extend it to the right rather than just keep coming down. So that's when the typewriter goes rogue. Okay, that time will come. And so next one would be this one here, the little one here. And is 451. 451. So this color, there are only 2 stitches, but they're kind of far away, one over here and one over here. So I need to make a judgment call. I don't want to take my thread over with such a large stitch area, which creates floating threads. I don't want. So I'll probably end my thread and then just leave it. Move to the next color. And with this one, because I've done a loop, I don't know, I almost feel like it's so nicely tucked in with a loop method. I might just leave a short tail and just leave it at that. I think you'll be fine. It'll be nice and snuggly. It's not gonna pop out. 4, 5, 1. And let's see. The next stitch is way down here. Oh, it's a nice pink. It's almost pink. Oh my goodness. Didn't think I'll come across a pink in this area. 3607. 3607. Oh, it's very, very pink. I didn't see that coming. Look, it's totally different from the current colors. It is correct. Huh. But somehow when they blend together, like it's got green. It's got some green here, some purple. And now we've got this hot pink, this bright pink. And it's supposed to all blend in together. Okay. Colors are so interesting. Our eyes are doing the blending. Right. That's very bright. Two. There's one more stitch over here. And as we're approaching 1:30 in the UK, I can't believe we're here already over 2 hours. Where's time gone? So what I'm going to do is to make this color my final one tonight, and I'm going to end the session with this beautiful pink. I have quite a few stitches here, and then I'm gonna show you how many stitches I've managed with this deranged typewriter method. I'm very happy with the progress so far. Not too many mistakes. I did notice there are a couple of stitches I kind of stitch it, it's kind of one stitch off. That happens quite a lot, particularly I find with the gridded fabric like this. Ironically, it's supposed to guide me to stitch correctly, but I find that I sometimes misread the border, and miscount a stitch. That happens frequently. So, but other than that, no major disaster so far. This pink is so pretty. One over here. I'll just do a few more stitches and take it to the left. Yeah. Well, it does blend in some interesting way. Here. Over here, that one's done. And 1, 2. Very interesting. Right. Let me see whether I should take it further. I think it might be okay. There's a whole bunch of this pink going on here in this area. 1, 2. Oh, Cheryl says you reach the pink flower area. Oh, that's why. Because I thought, I'm thinking the tile at the back. I thought, where does this pink coming from? Because when I'm stitching, I sometimes don't even look at the muck-up. I like the surprise element. But yes, well spotted. I think it is. There's some pink flowers there. Shower as usual. Eagle eye. Can't beat that. And a few more here. I'm going to just go ahead and do them because they're here. Two. Take it over there. I might just stitch until the thread has run out. Isn't it, River? This is such a pretty color. Kind of slightly surprised because I thought I was still stitching the purple tile at the back. And suddenly, I'm in the pink flower zone. This is so pleasurable, so pretty. So I am going to take it to the right here instead. And maybe the final few, because I'm running pretty short with a thread. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do a boomerang ending. I'll try to do it as elegantly as possible. Can't promise. There. And let's hope it won't slip. Nice and secure. Beautiful. What a wonderful ending for this session here. Now, let's have a look. Not bad at all, my goodness. So today I've attempted the typewriter method somewhat. It's different from the previous session when I was doing a lot of parking. And so I started from this block, start to clear off, use up some of the parts thread. There's still a few there because I'm following the symbols from top left to the right, typewriting. And then let me zoom in a little bit more there. And then gradually cross country down, however I see fit. And this is the result today. So this whole area is brand new. And there's some, slightly far away stitches there. It's going on there, which is very different from how I normally stitch. So it's very, very interesting. And let's look at the progress here and the stitch count. So here, let me zoom out a little bit here. So, oh, I'm 3.9 now. I think I moved forward a little bit naturally, but the grand total of stitches I've completed today within this session, just over 2 hours. We're here slightly shorter today with the session, but I managed to do 322, which is amazing. Considering we're here for just over 2 hours. So it is fast. I don't know how it works because previously I was doing block by block within, the same pattern, block by block parking, color completion. And I can't remember last time how many stitches, but typically with this method, with half stitches, we're not even talking about full cross, half stitches, I was normally within about 200, if at all. Depends on how confetti the area is. And today, it was just so relaxing and so fast. I had to get my head around in the beginning for a few colors. After that, it was just flowing, and I end up with 322, which is way above my average. My average is about 200, something there, on a good day. So this is fantastic, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. If you haven't tried, mark those 4 stitches. Have I not marked it? My goodness, Cheryl, I need to hire you as my secretary or something. I have. Oh no, I haven't marked it. You're quite correct, Cheryl. My goodness, you probably have one of those, Elon Musk bionic, sort of, some sort of AI, sort of built-in eyes implanted already, I bet, because there's just no way I even noticed that. I don't know how you do it, Cheryl. I need to learn from you or just hire you as my secretary. Yes, so here's my thank you, Susan. Thank you, Grace. And this is so much fun. If you haven't tried Typewriter, give it a go. You have nothing to lose. It's so much fun. And there's an element of sort of rules you do follow, as symbol by symbol, but there's an element of wild cards going on there. You have no idea what kind of formation of stitches you're going to end up. And throughout the process, it's fun because there's a lot of decision making in terms of where you take your stitches to. And you have a lot of freedom to do. And you end up with this beautiful pattern here. So I'm really, really happy. And I think I'll do more of this method, considering it's a little bit faster as well, which makes me very happy. So now let's have a look. It's 1:34 a.m. Okay, a.m., not p.m. For some of you, it might be around the same time p.m. there. Lucky you. So now it's nappy nap time, nappy nap time for Yogi here, and I really enjoy the session. I'm glad I managed to come back a little bit late, but to be able to sit here and stitch with you, which is the fun time of the day for me. So I hope you enjoy your session as well. Thank you, River, the champagne for everybody. So I hope you enjoy today's session, and I'll see you soon when we come back tomorrow, hopefully, and for another piece, another session. Hopefully come back in a slightly earlier hour, the usual hours, so that our viewers in the Europe area can join us as well. So with that, Yogi is going to sign out. Thank you for your company, and I hope you have the beautiful rest of the day. So from here, from London town, sleepy London town, I'm going to wave night night to you. Nighty night, everyone. Enjoy your day. I'll see you in the next session.